Last week, I released a video talking about the history of NFL Europe and why it failed. In the comments section of that video, I received numerous requests to talk about the European League of Football that launched back in 2021. The ELF has built something special that has grown every year and is slowly becoming the premier European football league. This is the story of the ELF, the football league taking Europe by storm. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football and spring league football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who your favorite European football team is in the comment section below. Mine has to be the Hamburg Sea Devils, as I always loved playing with them in Madden 07 back in the day. As I talked about last week, NFL Europe found some success in Germany, but it was not enough to save the league overall, nor was it the vision behind NFL Europe, as they were supposed to build the game throughout Europe, not just in Germany. Along with NFL Europe, there was also a league known as the European Football League, which had been established in 1986. It was a tournament for the best European American football teams affiliated to the IFAF. It was played in the Euro Bowl until 2013. In 2014, the EFL was replaced by the Big Six European Football League as Europe's top-tier competition of American football. The Big Six initially consisted of 3 teams from Germany, 2 from Austria, and 1 from Switzerland. The clubs being the Berlin Adlers, the New Yorkers Lions, the Dresden Monarchs, the Vienna Vikings, the Swarco Raider Tyrol, and the Calenda Broncos. A French team would join in 2015, becoming the league's first non-German speaking club. For the start of the 2017 season, both Austrian clubs would leave and the league would choose to invite the Amsterdam Crusaders from the Netherlands, the Karlstad Crusaders from Sweden, and the Frankfurt Universe, as well as the Milano Seamen from Italy and a team from Berlin. But politics would keep Karlstad out of the Big Six, with the Swedish American Football Federation saying they could not play in the tournament, and if they did, they would face dire consequences. IFAF New York did not sanction the Big Six tournament, and since the Swedish Federation was a supporter of IFAF New York, it said no to Karlstad. At the time, IFAF Paris and New York were split, leaving American football in Europe in flux. The Big Six were supporters of the IFAF Paris. The Crusaders said they just wanted to play against the best competition they could find, as this was a recruiting tool for them. The more games against top competition, the easier it was to recruit great talent, and the Big Six was the best of the best at the time. 2018 would be the last year of the tournament, and it only consisted of 4 teams with 2 German teams, a French team, and a team from Amsterdam. The New York Lions would beat Frankfurt 20-19 in the championship game, and the league would cease after the season. The EFL, now a second-tier league in Europe, would also cease in 2018, and they would end with an exciting championship game with the Potsdam Royals beating Milano 43-42. After those seasons, no major football leagues were pitting the best teams in Europe against each other. That was until 2020, when Patrick Esme decided he wanted to revive European competition in the form of his own league. Esme was a former American football coach and TV commentator as well as a sports manager. He was a major voice, always criticizing the American Football Association of Germany, aka the AFVD, for not using the fan potential in the country to make a successful sports league. Esme felt they could build something special. I mean, if y'all remember from my NFL Europe video, the German teams were able to attract 30,000 plus fans a game, so the demand was there. When Esme announced the European League of Football, aka the ELF, the AFVD was very skeptical, with their president even coming out and saying, "We have experience over the last 40 years in running leagues in Germany and in Europe, and we have a pretty good insight into what teams are actually capable of," basically calling Esme crazy. The first 2 new franchises to reveal their identities were the Ingolstadt Praetorians and the Hanover-based team, the German Knights, in 1367, in early December of 2020. The next team that was announced was a team located in Spain known as Gladiators Football, which was going to be playing in Costa Dorada. The Gladiators also announced that they would be coached by 6-time Grey Cup champion and CFL great Adam Rita. To bring some name recognition to the league, Esme decided to reach out to the NFL and came to an agreement with them to use the names of former NFL Europe teams, bringing back the Hamburg Sea Devils, the Frankfurt Galaxy, and also Berlin Thunder. Coaching Hamburg would be Tread Daischer, who had coached in multiple startup leagues, college, and the NFL previously. The league hit a snap when the Knights and the Praetorians announced they would not be ready to launch with the league for 2021, and were instead replaced by Leipzig and Cologne. The Centurions name would return for Cologne, and the Thunder would return for the team in Berlin. This was a smart move by the ELF because it brought immediate name recognition and a connection to teams of the past. The Barcelona Dragons would also return as well. For its first season, the league paid a salary to American import players that generally ranged from €600 to €3,000, aka $700 to $3,500 per month, and provided housing, health insurance, and 2 meals per day to players during the season, while most local players were not paid. The ELF would kick off on June 19, 2021, and would be between the Wortstorf Panthers and the Cologne Centurions. Madre London of the Centurions would go on to win the league's MVP, rushing for 2,177 yards and 23 touchdowns, averaging 7.2 yards per carry, would go on to play in the USFL. Hamburg would win the North Division and took on Wrocław in the semifinal, while Frankfurt won the South Division and took on Cologne in the semifinal. Ironically, Frankfurt and Hamburg would meet in the ELF championship game just like they did in the last NFL Europe title game, but this time Frankfurt would come out on top, beating Hamburg 32-30. Hamburg would miss a game-winning 61-yard field goal attempt by Special Teams Player of the Year, Philip Fries Anderson, as Jakob Sullivan, behind his 324 yards and 4 touchdowns, would lead Frankfurt to the win and MVP honors in front of 22,000 fans. Although they had restrictions due to the events of 2020, they still had a relatively good attendance, and all the teams would move to bigger stadiums the following year. The inaugural season of the European League of Football exploded into the light and relentless passion and fire that shocked the world of football in Europe. Just before the title game, the ELF announced they would be adding 3 teams: the Sarko Raiders, the Vienna Vikings, and the Rhine Fire. Later, it was announced that the league would also be adding the Istanbul Rams. The league would move to 3 divisions in 2022, the North, Central, and South, consisting of 12 teams, 4 in each conference, and they would play a 12-game schedule. The 5 countries represented in the league were Austria, Germany, Poland, Spain, and Turkey. Like the previous season, there was a limit of 4 US Americans, Canadians, Mexicans, or Japanese players per roster, and 2 on the field at the same time. But people who were dual citizens of the US and EU member countries were not counted towards that limit, in keeping with the Bosman rule. There was also a limit of 8 non-American foreign players per roster. After players complained of subpar housing conditions for import players of the Frankfurt Galaxy franchise, an unofficial union based in Switzerland was formed under the name of the European League of Football Players Association. Heading into the second season, they also adopted the XFL's kickoff setup. Stuttgart and Istanbul would finish with the 2 worst records, going 0-12 and 1-11 respectively, while Hamburg finished 11-1 to win the Northern Division, Vienna went 10-2 to win the Central Division, and Barcelona finished 8-4 to win the South Division. The Raiders would finish as the wildcard team. For the second straight year in a row, Hamburg would lose in the title game, this time to Vienna 27-15. The league saw an attendance increase of nearly 80% from year 1 to year 2, and unlike NFL Europe, a select number of games were available on free TV live, and a bunch of other games were shown on premier networks. Fans outside the country could also watch all the games on the ELF Game Pass. Heading into 2023, the Istanbul Rams, after only averaging 455 fans per game and being so far out of the league's footprint, would fold, while Leipzig would withdraw on July 10th of 2023. This was due to financial issues that were not disclosed, and the team was told that they could come back in 2024 under new ownership. The league saw 6 new expansion teams, bringing the league's total up to 17. The Fahrhaven Enthroners, the Helvet Guard, the Milano Seamen, the Munich Ravens, the Paris Musketeers, and the Prague Lions. The playoffs would consist of 2 teams, with the top 2 seeds earning byes for the first round. The Rhine Fire would go 12-0, blowing nearly everyone out with the 341-point differential, and winning the Western Conference, while Stuttgart would go 10-2 and win the Central Conference, and Vienna would dominate as well, going 12-0 with a 234-point differential, en route to winning the Eastern Conference. The Frankfurt Galaxy, Berlin Thunder, and Wrocław Panthers would take up the 3 wildcard spots. Stuttgart would upset Vienna in the semifinals, but Rhein would roll to the ELF title with a 53-34 win. Every team would see an attendance increase, and the league would see a 22.3% increase in attendance compared to the previous year. Heading into the 2024 season, the league has returned 15 of their 17 teams from last year. Madrid would be an expansion team, while the Helvet Guards were replaced by a new Swiss team. The league will kick off on May 25th, and I'm hoping I could get out there for a game. ELF, let's get more American fans' attention in your league, and let me know, email me, if you want to do something together. If you want to watch the games in the US, you could do so through the ELF League Pass, which is €120 a year or about $128 a year. If y'all want me to, I will cover the league throughout the summer. Just let me know. The European League of Football has taken what were NFL Europe's biggest mistakes, and they have learned from them. They're developing homegrown players. They have local television deals to air games live. They have their own league pass, and know who they are and what they're doing. I am excited for the ELF, as I have heard about it in the past, but never truly looked into it. What do you think? What is your favorite alternate football league? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.